Death. Is that what we're going to call it? The Ring of Death? I feel like we should be calling it the Ring of Death.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Now, there is another extra layer of cheese when it comes to the deli here. You said that you can just go and capture sacred sites in the middle, but they're right next to the pond. So you can, in theory, capture the sacred sites and then try to defend them with ships exclusively. And don't forget, it's actually pretty difficult to do any damage to ships with land units. So if your opponents aren't really prepping for a naval play in here, you could easily lose out on the sacred sites in a matter of seconds, and then it's going to be impossible to decap them.
Take a look at this. We've got Core coming out with a single villager helping out. Why do you think he's here?
I think he's here for the dock. He needs to be cautious.
I think he's here for a hunting cabin. Can you imagine a hunting cabin right now? That's got to be 100, right? Like there's no way a hunting cabin that gets dropped down here is not 100.
I mean, I feel like 100 is a bit of an exaggeration, although it depends on the amount of bounty. Remember, you can have a lot of bounty here as well, but yeah, you gotta be cautious when you chop those trees, because especially if you're Core, if the villager gets his hands full of wood, he's gonna have to drop it off first to continue chopping. So for him, he needs to chop down a tree, micro the villager back so that he's not gathering any wood.
Yeah, you're 100% on the money there. But it looks like there's not going to be a hunting cabin. Instead, it is just going to be a case of the double docks going down. Of course, a bit of a delay before it comes through. On the south side, though, I don't see any villagers heading towards the Ring of Death.
I think they don't know. I genuinely think that right now, Sniper's team is playing a standard Oasis game. They're not preparing for his cheese, and this timing could line up perfectly. By the time they reach the central pond, Lash is essentially gonna be in Castle Age, or Feudal Age rather, and then he's about to walk out with a single Scholar. Well, he first needs attack for that, obviously, but you get the point. Docks will be completed. I could even see some towers being placed over here. I would love to see that from Crackety, actually. Just start prepping towers so that you can never let your opponent chop through, and from that point on, you just wait for Lash to arrive with the Scholars to cap the Sacred Site.
This is really, really smart. Now, I'd be thinking about, like, okay, I want to wall my chop through as well and put a gate there, just so that my enemy can't click to the middle and find out that I'm on the inside. Because right now, they've got no idea. They've got no clue about this chop through.
Yeah, good call. That's a really good call. It remains to be seen when they spot it. Because... oh, love it.
Look at this. Look at this right now, Lidakor. This is so good. They have obviously come prepared into this. There's the reason why they've picked these civilizations, and of course, Crackety is going to be opening with that Barbican on the sacred site. What a beautiful spot to put it as well.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful spot. It's going to protect the other sacred site, and let me tell you what the intimidating thing is right now. It's the fact that, let's assume that Lash captures the two sacred sites. What exactly are you doing if you're Wraith or Sniper? You're gonna be Feudal Age or early Castle Age at the latest, and you have to find a way to get through a forest, and the only way of doing so is really just chopping through. But you're gonna have a Barbican, you're possibly gonna have towers denying you. I feel like they could be in massive danger, especially if they don't notice this in time. Now, look at the minimap. Red dot getting close to that crossing. I think they just spotted this chop through.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, indeed, it has been spotted out now. We do see that he's run past it, and now we've got the wall coming in with the gate, as I suspected, making sure that he's at least got a little bit of security there. But obviously, it's too late. It's been discovered now. So that's going to leave a bit more of a burden over on this south side team, and we can see those villagers. I don't know exactly where they were moving to, but it looked like they were intent on...
A second DC.
They got... Yeah, it's going to be coming down here on the hunt.
Yeah, it's very bad.
Good little timing here for him.
I mean, the timing is right, and I agree with you. It's a good place, even. The scary thing is that when you play 2 TCs, you won't really have a lot of juice to decap those sacred sites in the next, let's say, 8 or so minutes. And timing could be dangerous here. It's kind of the fact that he simply couldn't bail on this strategy anymore. He committed to the 2 TCs, he has to roll with that, but keep in mind that behind this one, the opposing team is going to have the fishing eco. So I don't know how well that second TC is going to pay off. In fact, I think they are in big trouble.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Look on the south side now. We've got Lyralia also going for a second town center, playing as the Abbasid Dynasty Sanctity about halfway through. Scholars are moving out to that central location. Second TC coming. Oh, this is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. Everything is going the way right now of 2Good4Wololo. The Germans in the north of the map. Now on the south side, though, Wraith. Where's his second town center? There it is. He's gathered up the stone for it. He's going to be dropping down one himself. He's thinking, yeah, this is great. We're booming like crazy. But how haven't they connected the dots yet? There's a Delhi player. They picked this as their home map, right?
I think they know what's up. At the very latest, when these scholars start capping the sacred sites, they should know. But these guys are high-level players. They know what's up. I think at this point, you simply can't do anything else. You can't just start panic rushing the central part. You can't just chop through. I think at this point, the best thing that they can do is roll with the strategy that they have started with. Say, okay, you have a 10-minute countdown, and we're going to have one chance to decap it. Wait until it goes down to like 2 minutes, but by that time, we're going to have 3 players with a good boom. So I think at this point, it's too late to bail on this strat, and they just need to gamble that they are well boomed enough by the time they need to decap that sacred site.
And to be fair, they do actually have an Abbasid player, which it gives them a really good advantage. In my opinion, the reason why having an Abbasid here is so good is because he can make siege out on the field.
Yep.
So what I'd love to see Wraith and Sniper do is sling Lyralia all of the resources. Give them wood, give them gold, and make sure that they've got plenty of resources so that they can make Springalds to kill any potential ships that challenge when you're going onto the sacred sites, and also mangonels so that you're able to pressure any potential units that come out. That could be a way that they look to do it.
Yeah, they need to. They need a couple of Springolds because right now, Core's Lodya ships are fishing. But make no mistake, in the event that the sacred site gets threatened, he's gonna convert all of them into combat ships. That's the idea over here. And don't forget, those are very close to the shoreline, so we could even see some demolition ships come out. So at this point, Sniper's team has to be prepared for the danger of naval aggression towards those sacred sites, and for that, they will need Springolds. And indeed, the Abbasid player is probably the most competent when it comes to just adding that. Yeah,
I've got to agree. All right, well, let's see exactly how it plays out, because the second town centers are obviously coming down. We see a Regnitz Cathedral also coming through for Sniper. So he's looking to go for a very greedy playstyle here. And all sacred sites now getting captured. Look at their walls coming in here. Crackety just saying, well, yeah, you can wall, but I'm not going to let you. we got ourselves some interesting walling positions here, but once again, Crackety denying the wall for Wraith. He says, try again.
Oh, this is going to be a nightmare here on the left side. Just juking around with those wall placements. It's going to take forever for them to finish those walls. I actually don't know who benefits more at this point from those long walls on the sides, because you could say, hey, Sniper's team has 2 DCs for all players, but on the other side, you still have the eco lead, and you do have the fishing in the middle. So I genuinely don't know who gets the better end of this if the walls are complete on both sides.
I think another point that I want to bring up is the fact that fishing is good, but at the same time, the fact that it's been delayed in the early game through this segmented ring of steel means that it's not as good as it normally is. Normally we look at fishing like this thing that's mandatory. You must do it. If you don't do it, you're going to lose. But that's on the case of, you know, a 0-minute game start. Here you're starting at 3 minutes on the fish because of the chop through.
True.
So it means that there is that delay.
On the other hand, you do have a Roost player who doesn't have to drop it off, and you essentially have infinite fish here. In fact, one of the details they haven't even exploited is the shorefish. They could base their whole food eco around the shortfish with villagers. So I agree with you. I think it kicks in a little slower, but it's probably a little bit more long-term than what you would see on a map like, let's say, Four Lakes.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Just primarily because there's so many fish, and of course, you don't have to ever transition into farms. Let's take a look at that high trade house, though. That high trade house is stacked up against the wood line on the north side. I suspect it's probably got a pretty decent number for core. Let's have a look and see what it is.
I'm sad it's not in the forest.
Oh, 207. He could have got a 6,000 right there. Look, why didn't you just put it right there, Core? Yeah, what's wrong with that? Gosh, Core. God, what are we going to do with this guy?
In the meantime, Crackety also has his Castle Age landmark. He went with the Imperial Palace, so he's going to have perfect vision. And this is where it gets scary for Sniper's team. As Vodka is circling to us, we already have 2.5 minutes gone from that Sacred Site countdown, and if you look at the army of Sniper's team, not necessarily impressive. Sure enough, they're doing some harassment over here, but I can tell you, Lash and his team, they do not care. All they care about is the sacred sites in the middle. They can all get destroyed back at home as long as those sacred sites are intact.
Yep, agreed. The other thing to note is that any potential landmark snipe is not going to be working here. Crackety has got 2 landmarks in the middle. So if you're wanting to snipe away any landmarks, you're going to need to take out the center anyway. Because one of my thoughts was, well, I don't need to go for the sacred sites. I'll just landmark snipe the enemy. But they're not going to have the time. They're not going to have the ability to do that at all, I don't think, here.
Yeah, for sure. And you see stone walls are also coming up on the right side. It's a compound of the defender build from Lash, so he's going to have the men at arms build those. And once those stone walls are up, it's going to be difficult to get through on the right side. Right now, it's actually impossible to chop into the middle. Left side is somewhat vulnerable, but don't forget, Core is just fishing and booming, so he's getting to the stage where he's just going to unleash hell. In fact, you can see the top right. He's got 13 knights queued already.
That's a reasonable amount of knights, I would say. 13, yeah, pretty solid. So, when it comes to the way that our French team in the south deals with this, what have we got with regard to chop-throughs? Let's have a look and see. I can see that we've got Wraith on the south side doing a really decent chop-through. He's going quite far in. Let's take a look and see if we can spot out how it's going so far. Sniper. Also, they're not really chopping, are they? And in fact, they're chopping the furthest parts away for this position. And we can see right now that we've actually got vision on where the chop-through is coming in. So this team in the north has really thought about the way that they want to play this, utilizing China on this map perfectly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, China here is probably their most valuable civilization, kind of. Sure thing that Delhi allows you to capture the sacred sites a little sooner, but it's the Chinese with the ability to build those towers fast, the Imperial Palace, to spot these chop-throughs, and these are coming in clutch right now. And Crackety is doing a terrific job, let's not underestimate that. He is not just microing his units back at home, managing his eco, he always keeps an eye out on those chop-throughs, never letting the opponents get through. And would you look at that? We have reached halftime with the sacred sites, with still nothing really available for Sniper's team to get through.
Yeah, there doesn't look like there's any real pressure. In fact, the militaries at the moment are larger for our team in the north, despite the fact that they've gone onto water, despite all of their walls coming through. And now over on the west side, we've got ourselves a little bit of knight-on-knight action. Prelate's going to get taken out, unfortunately. Not enough Prelates here to really enable a hold over on this west side for Sniper.
Yeah, knight numbers are a lot better. Don't forget that, sure enough, you had 2 TCs for all players on Sniper's team, but Core's eco is fueled by the fish. It's an insane amount of food eco we're talking about. In fact, right now we're not on Core's POV, but you can just tell that they're swimming in food. In fact, if Vodka shows us the top left panel with the resources, I can guarantee you, yeah, look at that. They're just swimming in food,
He's going
man.
Imperial. Yeah. So part of the reason why this is happening is because of the power of the Rus fishing economy.
Yep.
They're the only civilization that can actually do this, but because their fishing boats cost 2 population each, and they're twice as effective as a normal fishing boat, but they actually train in a much shorter amount of time. It's a Spasskaya tower coming down, Lidakor. He's putting a Spasskaya tower on the sacred... Oh, my lord. There's no way this sacred site is getting... They're not even chopped through to the center yet.
No, this is such a well thought out all-in. As you said, it's not just how you use the Chinese, but everything's so well thought over. With the Alodia fishing boost to really capitalize on the lake. And then the looming threat that you can always convert them to demos. Then Spasskaya towers, Imperial palaces. There is an insane amount of synergy here with the civilizations.
The villagers on the chop through are getting killed by the outpost with sprinkled towers. I'm not sure if you saw that, but over on the west side, there's yellow villagers trying to chop through, and they're getting killed by the sprinkled emplacement on the outpost. And now that he's brought palace guards out, but he can't even get through. The 3-minute countdown comes in. Villagers move forward. Good night, sweet prince. But they've almost made their way through. You can see they're struggling to get through.
Come on!
Go, I believe. One tree gets chopped in. He needs to focus on this one at the front. He's making his way towards it. This could be it. Now, one of the things to note is that even if you get this tree down, you're still not going to be able to get battering of Spasskaya towers up. Oh, good luck getting through this. What a defense. What a classy defense coming out right now from this team in the north.
Oh, need I remind you that Core has like 20 fishing ships that he can instantly convert into demolition ships? Do you think they have a realistic shot here, Ozzy?
Not at all. Not at all. And the Spasskaya Tower, look at the Spasskaya Tower with all of its emplacements. Remember, the Spasskaya Tower comes in and it's got maximum emplacements. It's got the cannon emplacement. It's got the springald emplacement. It is just pumping out non-stop damage here, and now at the same time, looping around towards the north side. He's going to get cleaned up completely. Cores here as well. Elite Knights yet to come in, but I'm sure we'll see it coming through any second. And the good game gets called. Wraith going to surrender here. And with that, they realize there is no shutting down this strategy. Beautifully done by 2Good4Wololo, our Germans in the north.
I mean, the French team got served a lot of cheese in this game. And it all comes down to the scouting. For a long time, they didn't spot this chop through, and they just played the game normally. They tried to look at the map and say, okay, this is how you would play this map, long-term, defensive, so on. But the other side had such a well-thought-over strategy, and by the time the French team realized what was going on, it was too late. And we obviously have a vision on everything, so we knew what was coming. But little did they know what's gonna happen, and by the time they realized, it was just way too late. I love that every single civilization for 2Good4Wololo contributed heavily to this. It wasn't just like, okay, you chop through the Delhi and then we just do two kind of throwaway civilizations. Every single civ on this lineup had a role in this one, and it was executed perfectly.
It was a marvelous display. Like, we saw Core with the bulk of the army right there. His huge economy was enabling him to just power through when it came to those knight numbers. When it came to Krakeny, we saw him on the Chinese, utilizing those landmarks to perfection. The Barbican was there to protect the sacred site, and in addition to that, the Imperial Palace was able to utilize that vision, that god vision that it has, to spot out any potential chop-throughs, identify them, and then use that information to be shut down. By the same token, Lash doing a great job capturing 2 sacred sites. That was all he needed to do. But of course, the walls that came in on the side were a great contributor there as well. So very well played by 2Good4Wololo, and they move forward into the next round. Unfortunately for ABCD, they're going to have to head back to tomorrow.
All right. And with that, we're going to have to wait a couple of seconds until we hear word from our admins on the next set that's coming up. But we might have some games from the second to last round. Is that right? Let's check. Actually, we only have one team so far reaching the top... How much is that? Top 12? Yeah, top 12. It is the 8-bit army that is Salami, Zerton, alongside Striker and Don Ari. They are already in the second to last round. Aside from them, no other team has reached there, although, if we update the brackets, we see the second one as well reaching out there. Sort of State, Lenok, and Guz also making it to the second to last round, the quote-unquote semi-finals of the qualifiers.
Yeah, no surprise. That's a very solid team that those guys have got right there. So 8-bit Army has gone through. They took out Team Underdog. I guess Team Underdog being aptly named. Let's have a look. Team Underdog. We've got Lionheart, Blue Sky, Mobin Wan, Kenobi, and Mysterious X. But Salami, Striker, Zerd, and Don. That's a formidable team, isn't it? You wouldn't want to come up against them in a dark alley, that's for sure. And with Don Artie on the team, watch out.
Indeed. Elsewhere in the brackets, we do have Genesis Gaming leading versus Team Meow. That actually is an interesting team name. Another Chinese team out there, currently down 1. Then
We've also got Fat Penguin beat it, up 1-0 against Banter Boys. We obviously saw Banter Boys in the first series of the day. They did well up against Vietnam Legends. So at the moment, the Chinese team of Fat Penguin, at least I'm pretty sure they're Chinese. I have to double check. Let me just make sure. Yes, they are. Neptune, Louis, and Yui Metal.
Yeah. Chinese teams doing decently in here. We have Flash's team, FYF, currently leading 1-0 against Team Copium. That is Kaup, ZG Light, Baltoon, and Hood FX. So Kaup's team is down 1-0.
That's a pretty good team as well. Yeah. Ho-Ho is quite strong. Kaup strong as well. ZG Light, I don't recognize Baltoon's name, but I suspect if he's teaming up with those guys, he must be pretty good. But yeah, I mean, Flash, a very, very solid player. I think at the moment, Flash sitting at what? Rank 6, rank 7 on the ladder. So yeah, he's doing very well.
Yes, indeed. It looks like the next set we are gonna cast is gonna be a bit of an NA showdown, at least for some players. We do have Divine being the team captain of DKN, Divine, Kaio, and Numadon. Pretty straight